Welcome to Critical Political. I'm Corey, and you're watching The Political Void. This week, we are delving into how political ideologies can evolve through further radicalization. Here we go. Tracing its roots back to 1980, the iconic Make America Great Again slogan was first wielded by Ronald Reagan during his bid for the presidency. Emerging from a period defined by economic stagnation and international humiliation, Reagan utilized the rallying cry, "Let's make America great again," to signal a return to American prosperity and strength. The slogan's journey continued through diverse political landscapes. Notably, Bill Clinton employed the identical phrase during his 1992 campaign launch. Decades later, Donald Trump adopted the mantra following the 2012 election cycles, securing it as a trademark for his own 2016 run. By retooling the phrase into a direct command, Trump successfully morphed a mere campaign motto into a radical global right-wing movement. Following the historic election of Barack Obama as the first African-American president, a new movement arose, driven by followers who believed the American dream was slipping away and viewed the Democratic Party as an existential threat. Backed quickly by the conservative wing of the Republican Party, the movement took a highly adversarial approach toward racial minority policies, low-income health care subsidies, and social services. In the immediate wake of the 2008 election, the Tea Party movement focused heavily on reconstructing and preserving conservative republicanism. Its early legislative stability and enduring influence within the American political establishment were bolstered by numerous victories in congressional races. Initially, the Tea Party represented a spontaneous middle-class response to stagnant wages, vanishing jobs, and massive Wall Street bailouts. However, its trajectory closely mirrors that of the 1960s progressive movement. In 1968, when Randy Davis Hayden and their peers organized the Students for a Democratic Society, or SDS, their explicit goal was ending the Vietnam War. Yet that movement was soon overtaken by the more charismatic Abbie Hoffman, Jerry Rubin, and the Yippies, whose ambiguous protests against the American establishment and anyone over 30 ultimately came to define progressivism for the next 40 years. In the same way, the original organizing principles of the Tea Party were consumed and radicalized by the extreme right. This rightward shift is clearly illustrated by the political fate of Bob Bennett, previously regarded as the Senate's most conservative member. Mike Lee managed to find uncharted territory even further to the right, making the repeal of the 14th Amendment a centerpiece of his campaign and positioning himself to win the primary by double digits. This demonstrates how successfully the radical right had co-opted the movement and enslaved the Republican middle. While the 1960s radicals and the modern Tea Party share similarities in how they drifted from their founding purposes, a profound difference exists in how mainstream political parties handled them. Even at the peak of unrest in 1968, Democrats would never have nominated Abbie Hoffman or Jerry Rubin for office, nor would mainstream candidates like Humphrey or Kennedy have sought their endorsement or stood for photo opportunities with Bernardine Dohrn or Allen Ginsberg. Ultimately, just as Hoffman and Rubin were never truly Democrats, these contemporary radicals are not genuinely Republicans. By the way, this video is sponsored by the like button. Click it below to find out more. As a populist predecessor to the MAGA movement, the Tea Party largely transformed into this newer political force, mobilizing an identical base of conservative voters. However, their core priorities differed significantly. The Tea Party prioritized shrinking the government and fiscal restraint, whereas MAGA shifted its focus toward trade protectionism, nationalism, and cultural conflict. This cultural conflict has manifested in a coordinated campaign across public institutions and federal agencies to censor and reshape historical narratives. Under the Trump administration, the Interior and Education departments worked to elevate far-right groups, fund a whitewashed curriculum, and purge historical exhibits regarding slavery, civil rights, indigenous history, labor movements, LGBTQ plus communities, and climate science from national parks. Concurrently, the administration promoted a specific nationalist viewpoint through initiatives like the $14 million Freedom Trucks Traveling Museums, which featured a wall of American heroes that included portraits of historical figures alongside Donald Trump himself. A substantial portion of the grassroots figures and organizations behind the Tea Party's 2010 surge later became key backers of the MAGA platform. Yet political experts point out a fundamental distinction in their alignment. While the Tea Party campaigned on constitutional constraint, the MAGA movement is defined by loyalty to a single individual, Donald Trump, and a willingness to diverge from traditional democratic norms. This evolution marks a complete consolidation of the political party, where Trump effectively shattered the traditional Republican establishment to turn into a dedicated vessel for the MAGA movement. By leveraging the immense attentional advantages and authority of executive leadership, the movement established a system whereas institutional priorities are dictated by loyalty to a single leader, demonstrating how completely a faction can remake a major party in its own image. That's all for this week. Until next time, remember, silence is compliance. Your voice is vital. Stand up, speak out, strike back. They don't know what they started. If you appreciate this content, please like, share, and subscribe. For more updates, ring the bell. Your support truly helps the channel.